that it was the Cardinals who eliminated the Cowboys from the playoffs last year. And after that game, Deion Sanders in the press conference afterwards said, hey, look, if I own this team and some of you guys played like you played today, I wouldn't pay you. You didn't earn your money. You don't deserve it. I don't know if he included himself in that or not.
Well, I'm sure he did include himself, and then the other players started talking about it and saying that you know, that it wasn't them, and he wasn't talking about them, and he said, well, if you think that it's you, then it is you. And it caused a mini thing, not a big thing. It was a mini thing.
Well, it was the last game of the season. They were eliminated.
And you have a lot of time to think about that one.
He'll be going, kicks off to Mario Bates, who takes it at about the 1.5-yard line. Bates taken down by the Cowboys special teams. They always seem to excel. That was Izell Reese. The Cardinal offense, and this is the key to the whole thing. Number 16, Jake Plummer, who had 465 yards throwing it against the Cowboys out in Arizona last year. The offensive line, Clement Holmes, Graham, Dishman, and Joyce. Adrian Morrell is the deep back. Makovica, the rookie from Nebraska, and Boston, the rookie from Ohio State, start in the offensive setup. That's Adrian Morrell, and he got maybe 2. Let's have a look. George Teague and Darren Woodson, the safeties, and Kevin Mathis at the other corner. Mathis takes the slot receiver. And the handoff is to Morrell. And he's hit behind the line of scrimmage by Kavika Pittman first.
Now they come up with the first third down here. And one of the things that has really plagued Jake Plummer and the Cardinals in the first 3 games is turnovers. They've had 12 turnovers in the first 3 games, but they've had 6 of them in the first quarter.
And that would account for their slow starts in all 3 games, too.
And that's what Vince Tobin was talking about. He said, we just have to start, get off to a good start. Not a big start. We don't have to score a lot of points, but just don't give them any.
3 wide receivers and a tight end Hardy.
There it is.
There's a turnover by George Teague, and Teague got in. Touchdown. He almost put it up too early. He almost put the ball over his head too early. Kevin Mathis is down. Deion Sanders overlooking at him.
And that's just what we were talking about. The first quarter, 6 turnovers. This is what has plagued Jake Plummer. This is what has plagued the Cardinals. And you see, they just try and get the slant. The ball is thrown perfect. And it just comes right out of McCullough's hands, then right into George Teague's hand.
And Teague almost celebrated prematurely. But the Cowboys get on the board nevertheless.
You can't blame Jake Plummer for that one. I mean, that was a slant that was thrown in there. It was a perfect throw. McCullough had his hands too close to his shoulder pads. It hit his shoulder pads and just bounced right up, and George Teague got it.
That's Kevin Mathis, who went over to cover the slot receiver on the other side of the field, and Mathis went down.
And Kevin Mathis is the corner that plays opposite Deion Sanders. And as you can see there, Pat, Deion Sanders was the first guy that saw Kevin Mathis down.
Mathis, not a very big guy anyway. They're checking his knees, and he's telling them which one.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of the Super Bowl.
We're lined up and waiting for the extra point at Texas Stadium. Jake Plummer just threw his 10th interception of the year. Look at his quarterback rating, and that's going to go down. For the extra point, then Cunningham with Bjornsson Hoban. 7-0 Dallas. And that's the kind of thing, John, is Chan-Gailey. That's the kind of thing, John, that's plagued Vince Tobin and the Cardinals this year on all games. The slow start, as Kevin Mathis.
Yeah, you can see they're checking his left knee. It was Kevin Mathis on that play that he was on Andy McCullough. And you're going to see him. He comes in. He's right here, and he's covering McCullough. You see the ball bounce up. Now watch. He goes by, and he runs into his own man. He runs in right there to Dexter Coakley, I think it is.
Yep.
He said he just runs there and gets his knee caught right up under his chest. And George Teague got that interception for a touchdown. That's the first one of his career.
Yeah, for Teague.
And he's been in the league for 7 years.
Mathis, it appeared, just got kicked. He didn't twist his knee. So once he gets over the pain of the bruise, he shouldn't be too bad. Still being attended to. Walking around, though. 7-0 Dallas. And the Cowboys, Toby Goen, set to kick off again. Mario Bates back deep for the Cardinals, along with Pittman.
If they walk around, that's usually good news. If they walk in, that's usually bad news.
Bates will not bring this one out, and the Cardinals will start from the 20.
And I think Kevin Mathis right there is walking in, so that's not the good news. They usually take him right in and check him. It's his left knee, and they can take his pants off and x-ray if they need or whatever they have to. And that's one of the precautions they take with most injuries now in the league.
Charlie Williams has taken his place, but remember, the Cowboys get Kevin Smith back also, I believe.
Yeah, well, you know, he practiced. I was out at practice, and Kevin Smith looked pretty good the other day. I thought that he could even start this week or maybe play, and then they put him on the inactive list. So he's not active today, but they expect him back shortly.
Plummer comes out of the pocket, chased by Ellis. Intended for Johnny McWilliams. Let's look at some of those inactive. We're talking about people being injured. Eric Swan, Rob Moore, James Dexter, Everett McIver, Kevin Smith. Eric Williams pulled a quadricep muscle being introduced last week.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. Didn't play it down. The pregame introductions, they introduced Eric Williams, Big E. He runs out there, pulls a quad. The rest of the team's coming out of the tunnel. He's going back into the dressing room.
Plummer, Morrell, a couple.
One of the things I know the Cardinals will be looking for here is getting some better field position so that they can throw some on first down. I mean, this is going to be a killer for this offense if they run on first down, run on second down, don't gain anything, and end up with a lot of these third and longs, because with only one real veteran receiver in Frank Sanders, this is a tough deal for Jake Plummer.
Mass substitutions for the Cowboys. Flags on the play.
Yeah, that's going to be on Anthony Clement. We talked about their injuries. He's starting at right tackle for James Dexter.
Prior to the snap, full start, 65, offense, 5-yard penalty.
And this is just typical of the way it's gone for the Arizona Cardinals. There's Mark Trestman, their offensive coordinator.
I was saying how tough it is to pick up a third and long, and then their big old 355-pound tackle, he jumps off sides and adds 5 more to it. Now it's darn near impossible with this offense. I mean, the guy he has to go to right here is Frank Sanders, number 81. He's his go-to receiver on third down.
Shotgun under pressure, does get rid of it to Terry Hardy, who doesn't nearly get back to the line of scrimmage. He's taken down by Dat Wynn. Greg Ellis in the hot pursuit as well.
You know, you're talking to Chan Gailey. He was talking about Ellis, and he was saying right here that he's the guy that is doing the best job on this defense. And now they know. Listen to this crowd here. It's all about this, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's leading the cheers.
Yeah, 4 touchdowns, he says. They all get Rolexes. All these guys up here in front get Rolexes.
Scott Player back to punt it. Short, high kick. He won't have any chance with this one.
Well, the fans are booing that. They'll kick it to Dion. We want to see Dion, but it's still great field position, and there is a flag.
Downed at midfield by the Cardinals, but there's a flag on the play. Against the Cardinals.
You know, it'd be interesting here. If you want to see him punt another one to Dion, you would make him punt again. But with this great field position,
I think you keep
I don't think you would do that.
You got the ball at midfield. No, I don't think you'd do that either.
I mean, you know, Dion return, you know, a real threat. That's nice. That's fun. But as you say, the ball at midfield, you got to take it here.
You'd like to see him run, but he'll have other chances.
The kicking team went out of bounds. Who came back in was the first to touch it. That penalty is declined. Timeout.
Bill Carollo is the referee. There's Big E.
I'm going to be in New York then. I think I may make that one.
You might be at that game. We might have you in a choice seat somewhere.
Yeah, I'll be live. Last time I was measuring those fastballs, I had that gun.
Yeah, I remember that.
There's a speed going about 92.
Is that scary?
Yeah, no, I didn't have to hit it.
Well, you were an old catcher, though.
Yeah, but they throw about 92,
catcher,
93. I was an old catcher. And then I got so heavy you couldn't see three. So I had to become a football player. I had to be a tackler.
2nd and 9. Right now for an NFL update, let's go to Joe Buck in Los Angeles.
All right, Pat and John, just what defensive coordinators around the league did not want to see. Randy Moss had cried all week about not getting the ball. His longest reception of the year, 61 yards from Randall Cunningham. 7-0 Minnesota early over Tampa Bay. Back to Dallas, Pat and John. And John, thanks for the work on the radar gun.
So it will be 3rd and 8 for the...
And Joe, it's 7-0 here, just like 7-0 there.
Joe was there. He saw me do that work on the radar gun. Hey, and Randy Moss has the right to complain when he doesn't get the ball. To me, he's the most exciting football player. Take the quarterbacks out. He's the most exciting football player in the league.
Jake Plummer, pass complete as he fired it going back.
Yeah, they got Jake
Frank
going.
Sanders.
They have Jake going back all the way. I mean, he's throwing none-yard passes. They can't get the running game going. They haven't had good field position, and they've been so far in this game haunted by the turnover that you know, it's a 7-0 score.
That leads to a loss. All of those things.
This crowd. Dion's getting excited. The crowd's getting excited.
Dion's getting excited.
Dion only has half his chin strap on for this one.
He might have a chance with this one. And down he goes at about the 42-yard line.
You know, every return that they have is a middle return. Dion says there's always a seam. It's just getting to it. He didn't get to the seam.
It's a middle return because he makes it a middle return.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by the new full-size Toyota Tundra. Have we gone too far, or have others not gone far enough? By Priority Mail from the U.S. Postal Service. By IBM. Are you ready for e-business? And by cold, refreshing Zima. Zima, a few degrees cooler.
Back at Texas Stadium. Dallas 7, Arizona nothing. First down, Cowboys. Aikman sends Tim Lester on the move to the right. And they blow it dead. Average starting field position, Arizona at their own 14, Dallas on their own 47, and neither team has made a first down yet.
Start. Number 89, offense, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Starts 1st and 15. LaFleur.
You know, one of the interesting things, we talk about Deion Sanders being a good corner. Well, Aeneas Williams is also an excellent corner in this league. And they put Aeneas Williams always on Michael Irvin. In the second game down in Arizona last year, Michael Irvin didn't catch a pass.
That broke a long streak he had. Aikman hits the rocket Ishmael for about a 6-yard gain.
This is an area that the Cowboys really feel that they're a lot better with some speed to Rocket Ishmael. You know, that they can just get him the ball, and they have these short passes, the hitch passes. They have screens to them. They have reverses. They have a lot of things in this game plan and in this offense now to get the ball into Rocket's hands.
3 wide receivers set up. Bernie Mills is the third for the Cowboys. He usually is in the slot. That's LaFleur on the move, and here's Aikman. Pump fake and gets it to Ishmael. First down, Cowboys inside the Cardinal 40.
That's not a bad formula either. You know, they needed that for a long time. They always had Emmitt Smith, they had Michael Irvin, they had this, but they needed the speed. I mean, this guy that can press the defense and can make those quick moves, and then after he gets the ball in his hands is still equally dangerous. You know, he's always thinking of making a touchdown.
You know, John, the Cowboys thought that Enos Williams would play on Rocket, but he's playing every play on Michael Irvin.
Well, I think that Vince Tobin, you know, said over the years he's been beaten so much by Michael Irvin, he's still going to take him away.
That's Emmitt Smith down to the 35, to pick up about 3.
Emmitt Smith, tackle number 52.
Yeah, Pat, you wonder why Troy Aikman has so much time. This guy right here, Larry Allen, is a big part of it. Watch, I mean, he blocks to his right, then he looks out and says, what else I got here? He sees Simeon Rice, and he said, hey, you aren't going to get there. I mean, Larry Allen is the type of guy that does things on the most plays that guys in their life never do on one play.
Knocked his own man down behind
He doesn't care. He doesn't care. Who's ever out there is subject to getting knocked down.
Damn it.
You know, just watch
to the 30.
I was just watching just the way he fires out. I mean, you know, you always want to, in the running game, you always want to get movement. Now watch the movement that he gets. And the movement you want is this guy going back that way. And it's going to create holes. But, I mean, he fires off, and they start on a double team. That's going to be the soft spot. Then he comes off and picks up another guy. But that really creates lanes. Anytime you can get a soft spot, then you're going to have a couple of lanes.
He's leading the offensive line, at least, in sweaty pants.
Well, so far, I mean, this is still the first quarter.
Yeah. Here's Aikman looking, second or third receiver, caught by Mike Lucky, who just was activated this week. And did he get enough for a first?
Yeah, Mike Lucky's a rookie out of Arizona, and I remember in training camp, I went to one of their preseason games, and they really liked Mike Lucky.
Yep.
And they like him as a blocker, and you know, and they think that they can play a lot more two tight ends. And with Moose Johnston out now, I think instead of playing another fullback, like playing Tim Lester or someone, I think you're going to see more Mike Lucky, see more two tight ends.
Mike Lucky is 6'6" and 273, so he's big enough to fill whatever bill they need.
Well, that's a half of. Oh, is that a length?
Not even a length.
No, it's a first down.
Yep. Used to be a half a length. It's over half the half length.
Yeah, that's. You know, one of the things the Cowboys are doing now, we just see it right here, is as Mike Lucky goes out, Michael Irvin comes in. Michael Irvin isn't an every down player anymore on this Cowboy team.
And that's going to help him. He may not like it, but that's going to help him.
But see, we always see him come out here. Now here's Aeneas Williams out here covering. Aeneas Williams goes wherever Michael Irvin goes.
That's Emmitt Smith, and Emmitt cuts it up across the 25 down to about the 23. That's mostly Emmitt.
Yeah, and they're going to make it physical too. I mean, Emmitt Smith ran across to the right. Michael Irvin and Aeneas Williams are still going at it. I mean, they were over here, and they just locked it. You know, we talk about all the time how Larry Allen hits. Watch this one. I mean, here's Aeneas Williams. He comes up, and he just goes, whap! He just sticks his head right in Michael Irvin's chest, and they're going at. Now, remember, the ball is on the other side of the field. No one's told these two guys about it.
We better get them some horns.
Well, you know, they're two of the great competitors.
Yep. Here's Emmitt again. Emmitt flashes inside the 20 to about the 18. Enough for a Dallas first down. Emmitt says he feels better than he has in 3 years.
I think this guy right here, Mark Stepnoski, makes him feel that way. I mean, you start with movement like that. Larry Allen and Stepnoski start on a double, and then Stepnoski takes over, and Larry Allen can come up. Now, see the double there? And then he comes straight up, Larry Allen does, and he gives another push.
There's Mark Stepnoski. Boy, does he ever use leverage?
They talk about adding Rocket Ismail. Adding Mark Stepnoski was equally as big.
Aikman drops. Down the middle, touchdown. Michael Irvin. From Aikman to Irvin.
I'll tell you one thing about Michael Irvin. He is a tough guy, and there's no way that someone coming up and hitting him in the chest is going to intimidate him. Someone coming up and hitting him in the chest is just going to wake him up a little. You see how he gets inside Aeneas Williams, gets his hand up, pushes him in the head, then pushes him in the chest. That's what you call a pretty good double push-off. But you cannot intimidate Michael Irvin. I don't care who you are.
And he's been doing that push-off maneuver for years.
He's a master.
Yep. 14-0. Extra point by Richie Cunningham is good. This is a great throw and a great catch. That was right in the basket, wasn't it? The Cardinals discuss the situation while Michael Irvin is always.
There's nothing like a touchdown to fire a guy up. You know, last year he only had 1 touchdown.
I know.
So far this year he has 3. Last year was an off year for Michael Irvin.
Bates is going to bring this one out. Mario Bates knocked sideways.
Well, the Cardinals have to think now, you know, not worry about being down by 14 because they're always down, but they just have to worry about, trying to get a first down, get a couple of first downs, get something started that you can work off.
Jay Plummer drops and throws and misses. He said, when we spoke with him yesterday, that his thumb was just fine. If it's just fine, why is he wearing a bandage?
Well, he hyperextended the thumb. He said a defensive lineman grabbed it and just pulled it back. And it looks like that thing that he's wearing there is a brace so that it will be held straight where you can't pull it back the way he had the injury. But he's not throwing like Jake Plummer.
No,
I mean, he doesn't have the accuracy and he doesn't have the velocity.
Michael Pittman was in the backfield. That's Adrian Morrell, the ball carrier. The information we have on Kevin Mathis is that he has a sprained right knee and will not return. So Charlie Williams will take his place.
You know, the thing you have to remember about Jake Plummer is this is only his 3rd year. I mean, Jake Plummer is still in the developmental stages, and a young quarterback is easy to frustrate. A young quarterback with an injury is really easy to frustrate.
We'll look at a blitz coming here. And now they back out of it. It's still a blitz. Hits David Boston in the chest. It wouldn't have been amounted to much anyway. It's incomplete. They still don't have a first down.
You can just see the frustration mounting. I mean, he's coming here and he doesn't have a full deck anyway. I mean, he doesn't have a full deck to play with. His big play guy Rob Moore is out. He only has one real veteran receiver to throw to, and that's Frank Sanders. And of course Deion Sanders is back, and the Cowboys know that as well as anyone.
Scott Player will do the punting. This one is certainly returnable. Deion cut down by Dennis McKinney.
Yeah, we talk about how the Deion coming back fires up his punt return team. It also fires up the punt coverage team.
Yep. The 1999 Division Series begins this Wednesday as Pedro Martinez and the Red Sox clash with the Indians in an all-out battle as each team fights to take step one closer to becoming this year's champion. Playoffs on Fox begin Wednesday live in prime time at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. 14-0 at Texas Stadium. The Cowboys lead. 3 wide receivers set up.
Aeneas Williams still down here on Michael Irvin.
Reverse to Rocket Ishmael. First down and more.
That's what we were just talking about a little while ago, that not only do they throw the ball deep to Rocket Ishmael, but they throw him to hitches, they throw him to screens, and they run him on a reverse just to get the ball in his hands, because he is their speed, he's their breakaway guy, he's their danger guy. And Chan Gailey loves to work with someone like that.
He needs to get the ball to him in some fashion.
And he moves them all over. I mean, he just doesn't put them out one place where you can zero in on him, but he moves them all over, puts them in motion, does different things with them, so you never know where he is or where he's going.
2 tight ends. Emmitt Smith. Flag on the play as Emmitt crawls forward for about 4.
And they're pointing towards the Arizona Cardinal side of the line. And then they're going to go against the Cowboys.
Bill Carollo.
The official came in and pointed to the right and called it to the left.
Illegal formation.
Illegal
on
formation.
the offense. Number 77 was at the end of the line of scrimmage and was not covered. It's a 5-yard penalty. Replay first down.
That's Solomon Page.
Yeah, but that's not his fault. What that means is here's Solomon Page. He's the tackle. There should be an end out here. The receiver lines up on this side. There should probably be the tight end on this side or someone split out there. The tackle cannot be the end man on the line of scrimmage.
Thrown out.
So they put it on Solomon Page, but Solomon Page had nothing to do with that. There was no problem with Solomon Page, who, by the way, is playing pretty well so far.
Yes, he is. Aikman has time. Throws short for Ernie Mills.
You know, we look at Emmitt Smith and where they run so far. They haven't run to the left yet. They run to the middle quite a bit. I mean, that's where they have Stepnoski and Larry Allen, you know, getting those holes 4 times. And with Solomon Page, the rookie starting over there at right tackle, they run over there 2 times, and you have to do that. That's a way to help a young offensive lineman, is give him some runs towards him.
A lot of that directional running is Emmitt Smith's choice. Ernie Mills in motion. Handoff is to Emmitt. He pushes things forward for about a 5-yard gain. It's still 10 needed for a first.
Yeah, when you think of the Cowboys, I still think that's the strength of their team is the offensive line. If that offensive line starts there, and if they dominate, then that means that Emmitt Smith is going to get his yards. It means that Troy Aikman is going to get his protection. Then if those things happen, even without this guy, Big Old E, not playing today, even without that, then they have the Cowboy offense.
4 wide receivers and Tris Warren in the backfield with Aikman out of the shotgun. Aikman just does get rid of it as he was in the grasp of Tommy Bennett, blitzing safety man.
Well, you know, the Cardinals figured, what the heck, we're giving this guy time. We know that if we give him time, and we're just going to get all up here in a bunch, if we give him time, that doesn't work. So let's try the other thing. Let's blitz and get in his face and get someone right there. Bring the secondary, bring a defensive back, bring Bennett, do those type of things. Not give him time, because if he has time, and I always say this, that Troy Aikman is the most accurate passer in football, and if he has time, he'll do surgery on you.
Toby going back to punt. Cody back deep for the Cardinals. Last time he fair caught it at the 4-yard line. He won't do that again. And the Cowboys are going to save this one. And down at about the 3. Jeff Ogden was down first and knocked it backwards.
So it didn't make any difference, did it?
That's right.
I mean, here he gives a fair catch signal, and then he lets it go. And the Cowboys are smart enough that they know that you get in behind that thing. And you get in behind that thing and throw it back in. Jeff Ogden made a heck of a play. I mean, getting up there, because if he comes in the end zone and throws it out, of course, it's a touchback. They get it on the 20. So he has to get that ball, get up in the air, and keep it out of the end zone and keep himself out of the end zone while he's doing that.
Jeff Ogden came out for the warm-ups, his warm-ups before the game, barefooted.
You know why? Because he's a young player, and he's the last to get taped, and he wanted to go out and get warmed up, and they hadn't taped his ankles yet. There's Moose Johnston helping out now. Moose Johnston, the great fullback for the Cowboys, is on injured reserve. He's helping out with the paperwork on the sideline.
I was talking to him before the game. He said he helps out with the substitution packages. Michael Pittman gets the carry and doesn't get much.
I tell you, nothing has gone right so far for the Cardinals. I mean, they've had the turnover. They're down 14-0. Their field position has been pathetic. I mean, every time they started, they've been looking at like 95 yards.
Yeah, that's the end of the first quarter with the score: the Cowboys 14, the Cardinals nothing. Fox NFL Sunday from Texas Stadium will continue after these messages. It is hot, especially in the sunshine, at Texas Stadium. The house with the hole in the roof. And look, hot, I guess, is putting it.
Pin that thermometer on that thing.
Yeah, that's on the other side.
Yeah, on the shady side, it's 80. On the sunny side, it pinned it. It went up over 120. You can just see these people all below us that are on the sunny side. Every one of them is fanning themselves. It'd be tough to come to these games and sit in the sunny side, man.
Pittman is the deep back, and he gets the carry. Bring up a third down. First quarter statistics pretty dreadful for the Cardinals. -3 passing yards. Wow.
Yeah, you look in third down conversions, they're 0 out of 4. They haven't had a first down, and they had that one turnover that we have marked right there. And, of course, that turned into 7 points. A touchdown for the Cowboys.
Scored by George Teague.
And, you know, you'd like to say that they're going to throw more on first down, and they should, the Cardinals, but they need better field position.
Plummer throws. That might be their first down. That's to Terry Hardy, the tight end, stopped by Godfrey.
We really like Terry Hardy. He's in his second year. He had a shoulder injury last year, and this year he came out and he beat out Johnny McWilliams, who had been the starting tight end. They lost Getty in the offseason, and they think that, you know, that Terry Hardy is going to be a real good tight end. I mean, both as a blocker and as a receiver.
First and 10, Arizona at their own 15. It's Hardy who goes in motion. Plummer rolls, throws. He got Terry Hardy again. It wasn't Hardy in motion after all.
Yeah, that's the thing that Jake Plummer can do, and you know, and they're going to want to eventually get him doing more of that, is running with the ball. And then the thing that I always liked about him is he can throw from any angle. Did you see that one? He comes out, you know, he's running to his left, and he just kind of, you know, slinged it sidearm.
He's been compared to another number 16, but he got a long way to go before.
Not quite yet. As Charles Haley said, Jake Plummer's thrown more interceptions so far this year than he remembers Joe Montana throwing his whole career.
Michael Pittman, the carrier for a short game right now. For an update, let's go back to Joe Buck in Los Angeles.
At the Meadowlands, Kent Graham picked off Bobby Taylor 18 yards and a touchdown. Add a safety for the Eagles. Philly's offense hasn't scored a point today, and they lead the Giants 9-7 second quarter. Back to Dallas, Pat and John.
See, that's what happens when things are really going well, and you're up 14-0 and you're scoring touchdowns.
3rd and 4. Cowboys blitz. Plummer read it. The pass is incomplete. Good coverage.
Yeah, we talked about the things that Deion Sanders adds, and it's things like that, you know, that they can be more aggressive. And you notice that the Cowboy defense is that when you have Deion Sanders out there covering, then you can gang up, you can bring defensive backs, you can put a blitz on, you can make the quarterback throw when he doesn't want to throw.
He blitzed, and Woodson broke it up. Players punt this time, sailing to Deion Sanders, and Sanders took it straight upfield. Pat Tillman down to make the stop. Deion gets up rather slowly, but he's okay. 14-0. Dallas leads the Cardinals.
2. Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by the people inspired to build vehicles for your mind and heart. Nissan, driven. By 1-800-COLLECT, the easy way to save. By Gateway. Gateway speaks to 50,000 people a day. Connect with us. And by EA Sports and NASCAR 2000. If it's in the game, it's in the game.
Those are Texas Longhorns,
yes,
huh?
sir.
In someone's backyard. Look, there's their house, Those big old Longhorns are right in their backyard.
It's a big old backyard, too.
It's a big old backyard for a big old Longhorn.
Aikman deep for Ishmael. Touchdown. Perfect strike as he had him.
I think they finally figured out that the best corner, Aeneas Williams, was on Michael Irvin. So that means that second-year corner Corey Chavis had to play over here on Rocket Ismail.
He's not normally a corner man.
Watch this, and he just throws it right up over Rocket's shoulder. Rocket has about 3 steps on Corey Chavis, and that's a touchdown. It took him a little while to get to it, but, you know, that was there the whole first quarter.
Yes, it was.
Well, I'll tell you, that old thing, speed kills, is sure true. And speed also makes your offense a totally different offense than you have without it.
They talk about stretching the field. You just saw a good example of that. Cunningham's extra point is good, and the Cowboys lead the Cardinals 21-0.
Fox.
You know, we always talk about, you know, pass protection and throwing, but it's the offensive line, but it's also a running back. You see how right there Emmitt Smith just got enough of the blitzer to push him by, and as Emmitt Smith did that, Troy Aikman stepped up, and then he threw a perfect pass to Rocket Ismail, who ran right by Corey Chavis.
Yes, he did.
Took him a while to get to that one, as I said earlier, but that was the matchup I think that they've been trying to move to and get to.
Ball got away from Michael Pittman and bounced back to Bates. Michael Bates knocked out of bounds at about the 22 into the kicking net. Next week on the Fox NFL Sunday, Battle of the NFC East as Deion Sanders and these Cowboys clash with the Eagles. Plus other regional action. Coverage begins an hour before kickoff with the pregame show at noon Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific, right here on Fox.
We just saw a shot where the Eagles are leading the Giants.
Yeah.
Did you see that interception we showed? It looked like Kent Graham looked at it all the way and was even aiming it. Now, that's what happens when a quarterback starts to lose confidence. He starts to aim.
That's similar to what happens to a pitcher when they get knocked out. Here's Jake Plummer. Incomplete. That was intended for Frank Sanders or in his direction.
And that's his go-to guy. And Jake Plummer just doesn't have the feel. I mean, he just doesn't have the touch. And you look at their first 5 possessions. You know, the first one, of course, was, you know, that start. They started off, throws an interception for a touchdown for Dallas. And then they didn't have any. They didn't have any field position. They haven't gotten anything going. And, you know, they try and run. They can't run. And now they've tried, as they did right there, that last play, throwing on first down.
Plummer. That's to David Boston, their #1 choice, the rookie from Ohio State.
You know, part of this is the Arizona Cardinal offense is not very good. I mean, they don't have a lot of the pieces you need to be a good offense. But another part of it is the Dallas Cowboy defense is playing very well,
and they've gotten better and better.
Yeah, and a little part of it is getting Deion Sanders back, because now they can bunch up, they can overload on things, they can gang up on other areas, and they are doing it so far.
Plummer has the ball deflected right at the line of scrimmage. Some of the Cardinals' problems, John, have been, well, some their own mistakes, some through injury.
Yeah, and that's what Vince Tobin was talking about. You know, he said, you know, what's the difference? He said, lost players to free agency. You know, had that car wreck, lost Ernest Dye. Lester Holmes is starting, just came back. Holdouts, they had those holdouts. They just signed their #1 draft choice. And you know, things have happened to him. Jake Plummer hurt his thumb, and you know, there's been a lot of negative things for this team this year.
Of course, one name is not on that list was a longtime Cardinal, Larry Centers, who's always been part of or was always part of their offense. 21-0 Dallas. The 1999 Division Series begins this Wednesday as Pedro Martinez and the Red Sox clash with the Indians in an all-out battle as each team fights to take one step closer to becoming this year's champion. The playoffs on Fox begin Wednesday in prime time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. First down, Cowboys going deep again as Aikman tried the same pattern.
That's the old theory. Once is nice, do it twice.
Yeah.
You know, if you got it last time, come right back and do it. Here's what Rocket Ismail does. I mean, you just see the run after the catch. Then if you don't throw it to him, you can just hand it to him. That's a reverse. And then, as I said, speed kills. You just throw him the up. And that's the one that they've been looking for. That was the touchdown. Then they came right back with the same play at the same side against the same guy.
And we got the same match again. That's Emmitt Smith.
I tell you, he had a pretty good block there by Tim Lester because you know, you have blitzes for run and you have blitzes for pass, and that was a run blitz. And the Cardinals guessed right, and they're going to blitz right in the hole. And you just watch Lester right here, number 34. He's going to have to pick up that blitz right there. Boink, right there. That's the thing. I mean, the Cardinals had the right defense. They guessed right. They blitzed in the hole. But Tim Lester, the newly acquired Tim Lester, picked it up and gave Emmitt Smith just a little running room.
Aikman out of the shotgun, has and gets it. Chris Warren out of the backfield. Chris Warren has always been a good receiver coming out of the backfield. A lot of times, in fact, when he was at Seattle, he was used to split out to wide.
Yeah, and I think Chan Gailey, as Chris Warren, you know, plays more and stays healthy, I think he's going to use him more as a receiver.
Yeah, I think so too.
And not only, you know, I'm going to split him out and put him in the slot, put him outside, and do all those things. And he'd like to also have a package where he and Emmitt Smith in there in a two-back situation.
Low snap.
Oh, that was a launch.
Cody Fields Goins punt. And Cody, as we heard, can make some things happen. Flag on the play. He's still on his feet. Finally run down from behind is Cody by Toby Goin. Kicker's got some speed.
I'll tell you, as I said, when he put that up, I mean, that hung up there 4.6, and he launched that thing. And part of that is he kicked it 57 yards, and that's going to give the return guy a chance at a return. There's going to be a penalty on this play. It's going to come back. But it was still a heck of a run. I mean, Mac Cody is a little guy. You know, most of the
number 28 to the return team during the run back, 10-yard penalty. Receivers will keep the ball. Timeout.
Tommy Bennett is number 28. Call for the violation. Goin flashed a little athletic ability, running him down.
He did what?
There's Toby Goin. Who says kickers are not athletes?
Well, I think he kicked it so far, and then the first tackle, watch here, Pat, he embarrassed himself.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what that was, but I think he got so embarrassed that this run is out of sheer embarrassment. And then it didn't count because there was a penalty on the play anyway.
Michael Pittman's the deep back. Second-year man. Spelling Adrian Morrell.
We saw Goin do that, and there are, you know, kickers can't do a lot of things. I mean, have you ever seen like a kicker that can kick and can catch?
Yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of them can't, though. I mean, there's not many people that can do that. I mean, usually if you can kick, then you're not a good tackler like Goin there. He's all proud of himself now, or you're not a good catcher. And I went out to the Texas State Fair this year, and I found someone that could kick and could catch. I really did. It's a rare combination.
Jake Plummer scrambles away from the Dallas rush and hits Frank Sanders.
I don't know where we'd get a uniform for this guy. Here he is, Pat.
Yeah.
Look at that catch, receive it.
All right, high five.
Huh? Look, high five. Look, see the kick?
Yeah,
That's the kickoff.
he played the same time I did.
The old elephant.
Yeah.
Man. You can never have too many elephants on your team. It all started with old Toby going.
Yeah.
You know, if you stay around Texas, you never know what you're going to see. And guys that can catch, guys that can kick, guys that can kick and tackle.
Plummer. Receiver with Makovica, and he slipped down just as the ball was on the way.
You know, Deion Sanders is down here in the bottom. He's really sucking for air. I mean, I don't think he's hurt. I just think he's tired. I mean, he's darn near bending over calling for Earl.
Well, you can work out on your own all you want to and think you're in shape, think you're perfect, and think you're wonderful, but there's nothing like being in athlete condition, football playing condition.
Yeah, that's a totally different thing. I mean, he said he's lost 8 pounds and he's all these things, but you know, playing in a football game at this level takes another level of conditioning.
At this speed, yeah. Here's Jake Plummer again, drops it up to Adrian Morrell, well short of the first down.
You know, he could have thrown that ball to David Boston. I've always felt that there's an area, you know, that Deion Sanders won't run all the way with a cross. There's an area in the middle of the field where he stops running or chasing you, and to me, that's the area that they ought to hit. David Boston, the rookie, number 89, who was out here on Deion Sanders, you're not going to throw the ball to him on Deion, but there is an area that you can do it.
Took a little too much time.
Look at Deion there. The way he, after every play, he just bends over and he's just trying to get some air.
He doesn't go into the defensive huddle.
Right snap, false start.
Never has.
65 offense, 5-yard penalty.
Called
Remains third
against
down.
left tackle Anthony Clement.
Yeah, that's Anthony Clement just starting, you know, at the tackle for James Dexter. It's the second penalty he's had called against him. Like you say, Deion Sanders normally doesn't go into the huddle, so that's nothing new. But he's going back as far as he has to cover and just kind of stand there. Takes him a while. He's just now getting back to the line of scrimmage.
He's got Boston by himself now.
I think he has some new energy.
Incomplete. Intended down the middle for Sanders, but that had no chance.
No, and Jake Plummer's timing is off because, you know, Frank Sanders is his third down guy, his go-to guy on that third down, and Jake Plummer and Sanders, and well, this whole Cardinal offense, to be honest, isn't insane.
You know, Mark Trestman, you just saw a minute ago, Scott Player is back to punt to Deion Sanders. He may not want to be returning punts much longer. But he was saying, Trestman was, that when he first came back this year, Jake Plummer looked so good, in such good shape. Sanders lets it, bounces into the end zone, and then he got hurt. Just continuing that thought, then he got hurt, and he never has been able to come back to where he was.
No, and then he's gotten frustrated and he's starting to press.
It's a Fox Big Cinema Fox.
Did you watch that elephant kick? I mean, did you think that was pretty good form or not so much?
Well, I watched.
It was a straight ahead kick. It wasn't a
Yeah, it was. But he didn't keep his head down.
Well, yeah, I mean, but he had the basic form. Other than that,
Basically.
Kept everything in the ground, and you know, he's a young elephant. I mean, it didn't go. He's only 19 years old. Good catch.
With tusks like that, he's not a young elephant.
Yeah, well, they said 9 years old. Watch it, 19 years old. See that?
Yeah, that was okay.
I mean, I think
onside kick, but it was okay.
no, that thing went. I mean, it looked like, but he kicked it right out of the front. I mean, that ball went 78 yards. No, it did. I counted it.
You were there?
Yeah.
That's the Tim Lester.
Yeah, the fullback in this offense doesn't get a heck of a lot of bones. Remember Moose Johnston, and you know, for all those years being the blocker and doing all that tough work in this Cowboy offense. And every once in a while they just hand him the ball and it would be a big thing, or they'd throw him one. And there's Moose Johnston, one of the good players of these Cowboys, one of the guys that Emmett Smith says he misses more than anyone.
Oh, he said Emmett just really lit up. He said, how do you replace in 3 weeks what I had for 9 years in front of me?
And he said the communication was never talk. It was just no. It was just feel.
Aikman complete. Enough for a Cowboy first down.
See, if the Cardinals don't blitz, then they give Aikman too much time. You know, we talked about this makeshift right side of the Cowboys, and they're doing an excellent job over there. I mean, they have Solomon Page playing right tackle, the rookie, and then they have Tony Hudson playing right guard. And these two guys are doing a good job over there.
They are.
That last one, I mean, Troy Aikman just sat back there like he was on a porch in a rocking chair.
Hit Jeff Ogden for the first down. This is Emmett Smith again.
One of the things that they were worried about was playing Solomon Page on Andre Wadsworth. You know that Wadsworth would have too much speed for him, and then he would frustrate him, and then they'd have to help him and all those things. And I haven't seen him do a heck of a lot out here for Solomon Page, and I haven't seen Andre Wadsworth do a lot either.
Andre
Wadsworth is one of those guys who has great speed.
Solomon Page playing across from him in training camp played guard most of the time.
Yeah, remember the game we did against Denver? He was the starting right guard. McIver was injured then.
Aikman just barely got the ball to Smith. The Cardinals had a blitz going.
Well, you see Tommy Bennett up there, the strong safety, and that's the only way that they've been getting any pressure on that line of scrimmage is with the blitzing. But then you know what happens with the blitzing. Then you got man-to-man coverage, and then you get man-to-man coverage. You got Rocket Ismail, and they can't cover him. So those are the. So, you say why don't they blitz every play? Well, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea, but they are in man-to-man coverage when they do it.
Well, they got 4 wideouts. The Cowboys do.
Oops, he got him on the hard count.
Yeah, he did.
If he didn't get his own guy.
He might have gotten his own guy. No, I see him clapping.
You know, Troy doesn't show a lot of emotion anyway. I mean, that he could do that same action that could be against his own guy.
Full start, 73.
But it is.
It was.
Larry Allen.
His emotion. Let's listen to what a hard count is. Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, they called number 73.
They called Larry Allen.
Larry Allen, but if the defensive guy moves first or comes into the neutral zone or flinches, they have to call it on him.
Aikman up into the pocket. Wheels it outside to Chris Warren. Warren knocked out of bounds. After a pickup of maybe 6. Chavis and Tom Knight knocked him out of bounds.
I was just saying, if there's anything that the Cowboys offensively haven't done well in this first half, it's 3rd and long conversions. But that's getting to darn near be impossible in this league. You know, with all these nickel situations, sub packages, 3rd and long is darn near a dying breed of being picked up.
Here's another one of those efforts by Toby going.
A launch, and then a missed tackle, then a tackle. You think again?
Good snap.
No launch.
No, that was not as good as the last one. Return's not as good as the last one. The Cowboys 21, Arizona nothing. Neither team has looked particularly sharp.
Yeah, I think it's hot out there.
Yeah,
I think because both teams look loggy and they're starting to look tired and all that stuff. And here's an official explanation of Deion Sanders' toe injury. It wasn't a turf toe. It was a hyper-dorsiflexion injury. Then they operated on. Here's what they did. They tightened the capsule. They removed a bone in the toe. Now you have 2 floating bones in your toe. They took one out, and they also removed a bone spur. Like he was telling Pam Olive before the game. I mean, that wasn't just a stubbed toe or a toenail.
Those bones in your toe are supposed to be floating?
Yeah, 2 of them supposed to float. I think they're called sesamoid.
That's good.
I preface that with I think. You have 2 floating bones in your toe, and they took one out.
Flag on that last play as Adrian Morrell took the pass from Plummer.
Yeah, Jake Plummer is trying to get something going now, or Mark Trestman, and calling the plays. And again, it's mixing up first down. That's exactly what they have to do.
Holding 54 prior to the pass on the defense. Automatic first down, 5-yard penalty.
There's another. You talk about home field advantage. We look at these sidelines. The Dallas Cowboys are in the shade. When you're playing here in Texas, that's a real advantage. And the Arizona Cardinals are in the sun. As we showed the thing, it's 80 degrees over there. And then you look over here on the Cardinal side, and it's 120.
The visiting team in the sun, the home team in the shade. I think that's a pretty good plan. Offensive coordinator Mark Trestman.
They even got the coach's sweat.
Yeah. Plummer drops the throw. Screen pass called. Morrell.
I think when you look at quarterbacks and young quarterbacks and the Cardinals are now going with their no huddle. See, he's just starting to call a play up there in the line of scrimmage. But right. I still believe that Jake Plummer is the real deal. I mean, this guy's going to be a great NFL quarterback.
2 minutes, good.
Now we're going to get the 2-minute drill. They tried to hurry things up, get another play off before it was over, but the official ran him to the side. 2 minutes left in the first half.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Miller Lite. Taste a true Pilsner.
Nice in the shade.
Yeah, that's what they do in the timeout. You learn that. I mean, that's why NFL players are so smart.
Yeah.
When you get that 2-minute warning, everyone goes to the shade. There wasn't anyone during that timeout on the sunny part of the field,
including the officials. 2nd and 5. Plummer from the shotgun. Jake Plummer gets it across the middle, doesn't get a first down. It's Andy McCullough who made the reception.
And now the Cardinals will go with their no-huddle offense. Jake Plummer gives the play to the offensive line first, then the back second, and now he's telling the receivers.
And he'd like to have the ball snapped with at least 20 seconds left on the play clock. And he's going to get it done. Comes out of the pocket and fires incomplete. Intended for, he was pressured first by Spellman.
And you can just see the look of frustration. Yeah. I mean, Jake Plummer is a heck of a quarterback and competitor and all those things, and he's trying to get stuff going. He just doesn't have all his tools today. Deion's trying to get a little oxygen for one more return. I don't know that he's not hoping for either a fair catch situation or one that goes into the end zone.
No fair catch. Deion running in circles.
Deion doesn't have any gas.
No. Coming up on the Visa halftime report, JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris will have the first half analysis. Joe Buck and Ron Pitts will be joined by special guest Marv Levy, and they'll have scores and highlights from around the league. And our Fox Sports ticker will have up to the second statistics. That's all coming up on the Visa halftime report. They're getting ready.
Yeah, Howie's down there. He looks hot. Heck, he didn't even play. Well, I don't know. Maybe he did play. He could have.
Howie?
Yeah, he could still play. Oh yeah, Howie was one of the best. I mean, Howie was one of those guys that could play any defensive line position. He could. I mean, he could line up at end, tackle, nose tackle.
He didn't play for you, did he?
No. He played for the team that I coached after me. Yeah. But I think he's one of the all-time best because he could do it all. I mean, he could play the run, rush the passer. But
could he kick?
Huh?
And
no,
catch?
He couldn't kick and throw. And then the other thing is that elephant could block him. He couldn't bull rush that elephant. Now he could get around the elephant because he used to have that move. Remember that move that he made? He could do that move, but he couldn't use the bull rush.
Well, he couldn't get around the elephant's ears.
No, yeah, but I mean, he'd just go like that and just use his speed.
And now Howie's hot. Chris Collinsworth, you saw just a minute ago.
Yeah, see, they're getting lined up. You know,
Yeah.
in the pregame, I looked down there. They had a screen in front of them. I don't know what the heck that was all about. See now.
You know who that was? Norm Bulash was talking. Remember him?
Yeah, yeah.
Play with the Colts?
With the Colts, yeah.
Yeah.
Played against them.
Played at TCU.
You see Chris Collinsworth had to cover up those guns. I mean, his arms are so big.
Collinsworth?
And they're all natural, too. That he can't keep them exposed for a long time. People get jealous.
You've been in the sunshine too long.
No, I was just watching him cover them up. Did you see us rolling down and buttoning them? Because, he doesn't like people to see those guns.
I'm glad.
There's so much power under that man's sleeve that he can't keep it exposed.
Howie's you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about this guy.
No.
Chris Collins. No, I wouldn't lie.
He was a wide receiver for Cincinnati and a good one.
He was a quarterback.
Quarterback in college, yeah.
And
a sprinter.
Yeah, he could run.
Oh, boy, could he.
Could run. Look at him. See, they get themselves all hooked up.
Well, now, he's built for running, and this guy, I don't know what he's built for.
I'll tell you, one time he was built for quarterback.
Yeah.
Terry Bradshaw, you know, we played against him for years with the Oakland Raiders. And, you know, there are scramblers like Jake Plummer's a scrambler and so on, and Troy Aikman is a big guy. But Terry Bradshaw was a big guy who could scramble. Toughest quarterback to tackle.
Now, tell me this. I was talking to one of the makeup people before the game, and she said her job was to take care of Terry's hair. How could that be?
Well, we played him once. We played him once in Pittsburgh. And we knocked his hair off.
Hey, a lot of time, all the time he can imagine. And finally, he couldn't find anyone and just threw it away.
Yeah, and they're going to flag him for that too, because he threw out of the pocket. You can throw the ball away if you're outside the tight end zone. He was inside the tight ends or in the pocket, and he threw that ball away, and they're going to penalize him.
You know what? I was just looking at, there's Chan Gailey. I was just looking at Terry getting ready for the half. And he told me one time that he was so smart and thought so hard that he burned all of his hair off. That's what happened.
No. We knocked
You
it
knocked
off.
it off?
We knocked it off. It had a helmet. We knocked his helmet, and then the hair stuck to the helmet. When the helmet went off, the hair came off too.
That must have been a bizarre sight.
Well, yeah. But I mean, there was his head wasn't in the helmet, just the hair.
That wasn't in that famous game, was it?
What they're discussing here is whether to take the penalty or not, because it was an incomplete pass.
Intentional grounding, number 8 on the offense. That penalty also includes a loss of down. It'll be 4th down at the spot of the foul.
That's severe.
The 10-second runoff is declined, and the result of the play will be 4th down for Dallas.
See, now here's the box, and if he is in this box right here, he can't throw the ball away. If he were to get outside where the tight ends would line up, he would be able to throw it away. You see, he's in the pocket, and there's no receiver out there. Now,
he just had too much time.
I think, I mean, he had great protection, no one open, good coverage by the Cardinals. I think that's a bad rule. I mean, I think because they just ought to let the guy throw the ball away. I mean, that would.
That's hard to fault. Everybody did a good job.
Yeah, it was good coverage. There was no one open, good pass protection, and you know, that clock goes off his head, and he said, "I've had this thing long enough. I got to get rid of it."
Here comes Cody again. Wrestled out of bounds, taken out of bounds by Robert Thomas. Looks somewhat like a professor. No professor I ever had, but somewhat.
Look at that. We got so much going on.
Yeah.
We're going to have to extend halftime because we got these guys here. Then you go back and you got Joe Buck, Ron Pitts, Marv Levy, the whole thing. Scores, highlights. JB's writing stuff that
JB went to Harvard, didn't he?
Yeah. He was a basketball player at Harvard.
Now he's got his personal fan.
That's when you know you've made it.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate. Oh, I don't like what I see them doing to Howard. No. Never, ever do that to a lineman. No! Don't show that. Okay. Whew.
Did she use spray net too?
I don't know what, but I know that's an ugly sight, my man.
Plummer.
Someone wants a penalty. Said he grabbed his face mask. Those are the types of things that Jake Plummer can do, though. I mean, he can scramble. He can scramble and pick up first downs. And the thing is he is still such a threat. When he starts out here, he's going to come out to his right here, looking to his left. Now he comes out to his right. But see, he's still a runner with the threat to throw the ball, and that's very, very dangerous.
He looks like such a little guy when you see him in person. They list him at 200 pounds, but he sure doesn't look like it, does he?
There's not a lot to old Jake. And I don't, I mean, some guys you think, well, they're going to grow in as they mature, they'll get bigger. But, Joe Montana never got any bigger. No. And to me, Joe Montana was the best that ever played.
Better than all your guys? Better than the Snake?
Yeah, he was. I mean, the Snake was great. I had great quarterbacks. I mean, I was blessed with Darryl LaMonica. Yeah. I had George Blanda, who was the greatest competitor that I ever knew. Ken Stabler, who was accurate, was a lot like Troy Aikman in his accuracy. But I think Joe Montana for the whole package was the best.
LaMonica could throw it 8 miles.
Oh, yeah. That one that Rocket Ismail caught that Aikman threw to him. LaMonica, by this time, if he found Corey Chavis covering him like that, would have thrown 10 of those.
Here's Jake in the pocket, and the ball right through the arms of Frank Sanders. And I think when you look back in this direction, at this part of the field where the Cardinal receivers are looking back now, there's no way they could see the ball coming against that, out of that sunlight.
Yeah, that's a problem you always have here. You got the sun and the shady side, and then guys running from the sun into the shade and the shade into the sun, and those are tough. It's not easy playing here. There's Izell Reese, the backup safety of the Cowboys.
He wasn't limping. David gets the ball to Hardy, his tight end.
I think we're going to have stuff in this game like exhaustion, dehydration, those type of things.
That's exactly what happened to Izell Reese.
Yeah, that looks like a dehydration. I mean, you just, and sometimes you get it on special teams. I mean, the special teams guys, remember we said, go and launch one, and he, punts one 60 yards. Well, those guys have to sprint 60 yards, and sometimes it's not always the offensive guys or the defensive guys that get it. A lot of times it's the special teams guys that get it.
Here's Plummer. And the pass is caught by Sanders, who calls immediately a timeout.
Yep, that's his go-to guy. In fact, that's his only guy that he has out there. He's been moving Frank Sanders all around trying to get the ball to him. Here he is right here, and you see, and he just splits those two defenders, and Jake Plummer, who really hasn't been on this whole half, throws a perfect pass in there. Watch that one. I mean, there's a very small crack in there to get that ball, and that's what happened when a defender doesn't look at the ball, is looking at the receiver. You have an opportunity to get it over his shoulder like that.
Charlie Williams was the defender.
Look at Charlie Williams. He has his back to it, and he doesn't know where the ball is. Frank Sanders sees it, and the ball goes right over his shoulder.
So it'll be 1st and goal for the Cardinals at the 2-yard line of Dallas. Dion's exhausted.
Yeah, he's exhausted. In fact, he didn't even go for that one there. That went to Frank Sanders. I think he's blaming himself for that one because it was over Charlie Williams' shoulder, but Dion was in a position where he could have made a play for it. This I would think has to be a pass play.
Mario Bates is deep. Jake fires outside to McNafica, and it's a Cardinal touchdown. That'll change things around at halftime a little bit.
Yeah, it's going to give Chan Gailey something to talk about, because he's going to talk about, remember the game in Arizona where they had the big lead and Jake Plummer brought him back, and they know that they can do it because they've done it. They let him sit in there and let him sit in there. And with no timeouts, if this had to be a pass play.
Well, it was a similar day in Arizona. We did the game. The Cowboys were ahead 28-0 and just barely hung on to win.
Yeah, remember there was the last pass at the end of the game, and it could have been pass interference, but it wasn't.
The point by Jackie is good.
It sure quieted this crowd down, though, didn't it? Because I think they know that, and like I said, you know, it gives Chan Gailey something to talk about when he goes in. It gives the Cardinals something to talk about.
Some momentum, too.
They have really been flat. I mean, they haven't had anything go right for them in this first half. I mean, you know, they start off throwing an interception that the Cowboys come in a return. They, they themselves get a good punt return, and they have a penalty, and they had bad field position. And we're talking about old good players. There was a great one, that Joe Green. Well, he's going in for halftime, Rocky Ismail, but there's Joe Green right there, and you know how they line those nose tackles up now in the gap, and they and they point them one way or the other. Joe Green was the first guy that ever did that.
Why did he do that?
Now, what he did is so that he'd play Jack Lambert right behind him, and Jack Lambert only weighed about 210 pounds. And so you were able, if Joe Green stayed out, you were able to come off and get on Jack Lambert. Then when they put him in that gap, that center guard gap, it took two to block him.
The guard and the center had to block.
And then when the guard and the center would block Joe Green, there'd be no one on Jack Lambert.
I thought everybody was going to let it go. Jeff Ogden finally picked up the ball. 7 seconds remain in the first half. Dallas 21, Arizona 7.
Yeah, and the Cowboys have to run a play here because the automatic timeout change of possession.
Would they have a trick here, or would they just kneel down?
I would think after what just happened, the Cardinals just scoring, I think, and the fact that they really had everything under control, I don't think that they're going to want to do anything that could cause stupid. So I would say that they're just going to kneel down and end the half and go on in.
That's what it looks like, and that's what happens. So George Teague put the Cowboys ahead with a touchdown interception on the first pass thrown by Jake Plummer, and it was 7-0 Dallas before we got settled or anyone got settled. And the Cowboys added 2 more touchdowns. The Cardinals just got one. It's 21-7 at Texas Stadium. The Cowboys leading the Cardinals.